Today is April the 5th, 2018. My name is Tanya Finchum. I'm with Oklahoma State University, and today I'm in Perry, Oklahoma to speak with Bob Imgarten, and this is part of our Oklahoma Conservation Heritage Oral History Project. So thank you for letting me talk with you today. And we'll get to your work with the Rock Conservancy a little bit later, but let's start with learning about you. When and where were you born?
I was born in Noble County, in one place I own now. I finally, it's my place now, but anyway, that's where I was born. And I was born out there on a farm. A doctor never made it out there. I was born out there, and I survived. At 60, it was in August 18th, 1928 is when I was born.
1928, so you've got a birthday.
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
One coming up pretty soon. Well, did you have brothers and sisters?
I have one sister. She's passed away. She passed away about 3 or 3 years ago.
Was she older or younger?
She's older. She was 7 years older than I was.
And what did your parents do for a living?
They farmed.
Do you remember when you rode your first tractor?
Oh yeah, about through 1937.
And do you know what kind it was?
It was an Ellis Chalmers.
And did you make any mistakes first time out?
I don't know. I couldn't say yes or no to that. Probably did, but
Could plow a straight row?
no.
No.
It was a steel wheel tractor at that time, and I remember about 3 or 4 years later, my dad put it on rubber tires, and used it on rubber the rest of the time he used it.
Huh.
And I tell you what, it was a rough riding tractor with on them steel wheels, but he got the job done. Of course, nobody farmed 1,000 acres them days. If you farmed a quarter of land, that was just about it. And a lot of, maybe 2 quarters at the most. And that's why the tractors were small in them days. They didn't do much, but the bigger they got, the bigger you got, the more land you got. And that's the way it works. And it's that way now. There's not very few small farmers left in around the country anymore.
No.
And whether that's good or bad, I can't answer that. I don't know.
Well, where did you go to elementary school?
There was a country school out there called Pleasant Valley. I went through there 8 years.
And about how many were in your class?
Yeah, there was about 15 in the school, and I don't know what class they were. I probably had a couple or 3 in my class, and that was it, But there was about that many in the whole school, about 15 to 20 students at the most.
And one teacher?
And one teacher.
And how would you get there?
Walk. I just lived a half a mile.
Okay.
And my dad and my folks would make me hit the road to get there. They didn't take me. And I went there to rain or shine. I'd get to school. My neighbors I was friends with them. They went to school and they rode a horse. Well, I'd catch a ride on their horse every once in a while, and ride on the horse, up there. But it was interesting.
Yeah. And what would lunchtime be like?
Yeah, what?
What would you take for lunch?
Oh gosh, I don't know what my mom fixed. I just don't remember. It was we had meat. We'd butcher our own animals, and we'd have our own meat, pork or beef or whatever it was, and she made sandwiches out of it, and we used it. And that's about it.
Would you have to do chores before you left in the morning?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And that wasn't no fun. Dad milks about 10, 12 cows, and I had to milk about 3 or 4. Get up in the morning when it was dark and go get the cows up to the lot, and in the dark you couldn't hardly find them and see it, and then milk them, and then go to the house and wash up and catch the school bus or walk. And at high school I caught school bus. I was in high school.
Okay. And that was at Perry?
Mm-hmm.
Perry High. What year did you graduate from high school?
1946.
46. After the war was over by that time.
Just over. I mean, you could tell it because it showed that there wasn't much spent. There wasn't much money spent in schools in them days. Now, like now, the teachers are striking but for things like there wasn't. But they probably need the money. But they didn't buy nothing hardly. I don't know how we got by, but I know on a wrestling team we had our wrestler, one of our suits that we wore up there, they was even tore up, had holes in them and everything else, and that superintendent wouldn't buy what they go on. And what come to my mind one time, and kind of sure aggravated me. Oh yeah, they signed me up for leather jackets. You know, I took my measurements up for a leather jacket and stuff, and he never would order them because he said wrestlers didn't need them. And what aggravated me so bad, it wasn't but about 2 or 3 months later, one member of a prominent family out here, he decided the band needed new uniforms. And darn if he didn't get the superintendent to spend money to buy new uniforms for the band. And we got nothing.
Well, did you have a favorite subject in high school?
I had no favorite. Easiest one was history.
History?
I liked history. Math I didn't care for. What I hated worse was English literature.
Well, were you in FFA or 4-H?
Yes, I was in FFA.
FFA.
I made the state farmer degree.
Okay. And what was your project?
Oh, mostly, yeah, I probably had a few cows, some sheep, and that's about it.
Sure.
I was in high school. My uncle decided he was going to quit farming, and he sold me his tractor. When I was a senior in high school, I owned a tractor. And, he wanted me to farm his place, He was kind of a rock hound. He collected rocks, and he'd be, never tell him where he'd be gone, but I survived. He was good financial. He made me sign a promissory note. He said, "Now listen, I won't charge you no interest, but you can pay this when you get back, when you can." Well, I paid it off in a year or two. I don't know what it was. It wasn't bad.
So at that point, you planned to do farming for your lifetime?
Did, yeah. I sat around at home. Yeah, I planned to do farming. And I was at home there until that Korean War broke out. Then I thought, well, here I go again. Well, they had me in 3A, and then they put me in 1A, and then I got married in April the 20th in 1950. So I got married. Of course, I think the Korean War break out in May of 1950.
Seems like it.
Something like it. Somewhere in there, I think, like I say, I can't remember dates anymore. But I thought, well, here I go. And so I sat around there for about a year or two. I really didn't do much. I figured, well, I was going to get drafted. I was going to draft it. And if I was going to get drafted, I was going to try to join the Air Force. I love that the airplanes, and stuff. But then I got put in back in, and we had a son. And they changed my damn classifications again. I was put in 3A. So I said, well, maybe I don't have to go. Just change my routine and stuff. So I never did have to go. Not that I didn't want to, but it was one of those deals. You didn't know what to do. I knew, you could, if you got put in 1A, you might as well join something if you didn't like it, because you're going to get drafted.
One way or the other, yeah.
And I never did get, of course, I was too young for the Second World War. I graduated high school in 26. The war was over in 45, and I graduated in 46. So that's the way it was there. And they just about ready to cut out the draft.
Well, when
everything was on. Yeah, everything was on. They had prices on, shipping prices on everything. You had to sign up. You couldn't buy a pair of shoes if you didn't have have a deal to get a pair of shoes. Yeah. And gasoline, you owe so much, I think 3 gallons a week. And if you you live further from town or anything, you get, I think, had a B card instead of an A card, and you got 6 gallons a week. And that was it. And there wasn't no ifs and ands about it.
Farmers didn't get any extra?
Mm-mm. You got that, like I say, you got that extra 3 gallons maybe, and that was it. And there was no one, and it was it, and we got by. You didn't go any place you have to, but and the neighbors would get together on a Saturday night. That'd kind of be a gathering on a Saturday night for the neighbors, you know. They'd come around there having ice cream. So you always make a freezer full of ice cream or something, you know. And
do a little dancing?
Huh?
And do a little dancing?
A lot of them did, but I never did care about dancing. My folks did. They was always a lot of dance.
Well, did they stay in farming their entire life too, your parents?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, did they practice any conservation?
Terraces. Terrace, that one place that had never been terraces on it before, and it was terraced. Done it on their own too. I remember making them terraces. Gosh, we made it with a grader, and I had to drive the tractor, and Dad would run the grader. And we made them terraces, but we made them. It didn't make them quite right, but they worked. They had a little bit too much fall, and it was hard to keep them from washing on the end, you know. Had too much. I think they had about 4 inches fall to 100 feet, you know, and that's a little bit too much. Was that right?
That's right. Should be 2/10 per 100 foot instead of 4 inches.
Yeah, I know it. Like I say, there wasn't no payments or nothing on them, and you done it on your own, you know. And you figure that was about right. Well, it worked, but it wasn't quite right. But we changed them after that. We changed them to where you dropped about 2 inches to 100 foot, and they worked good then.
Well, who was helping you do that sort of thing? The county agent or
No.
just?
I had a neighbor, my uncle of mine. He had a level and everything, and he was good at that stuff. Boy, I mean, he could survey anything, you know. And we run it that way, and you know, you could even take a garden hose, you know, a 50-foot garden hose, and do it if you wanted to. But he had that level we could survey it. And he'd done a lot of surveying around there, made a lot of terraces. And well, that one place that my kids have got over there, my uncle had it, and it was 2 miles north of where I lived up there, you know. And it was, I mean, it was full of terraces. I mean, not gullies. Yeah, gullies. He gave $4,000 for the place. So you can figure how good it was. We hauled car bodies in there, and we hauled this and stuff and that in there, and I helped him fill that. And we'd take it along with an old earth mover, you know, and kind of fill it up. And you know, he made a couple waterways in there. It's a good place now.
Well, as equipment and tractors got bigger, did you have to redo the terraces?
No, we didn't have. We still used a grader, no grader, to work on terraces. Of course, it took somebody to run the tractor and somebody to run the grader, but help wasn't our problem. I know my dad. You know, we had a neighbor up there. He got out of the civil. He was with the Merchant Marine when he was in the war, and he lived up there, and he was just looking for a job, you know, just do anything. He'd work for $1 a day. You'd have to keep him. I know he dug that well up there on my old home place where I was born up there. He dug that well. Dad would pull that dirt up, you know, and then he'd haul it and drag it away, you know. He dug that well for $1 a day.
Some of that time period was for when the WPA was doing things and the CCCs.
That. Well, WPA done a lot of bridge work, you know, and they built the stadium out here, and they done all that. I can remember them doing that. But a lot of bridges south of town here were all built by the WPA.
Well, on your place, did you have shelter belts?
Had a house. Had a house built. my mother inherited part of that place, and she bought the rest of the heirs out. And then Dad and my dad and him, they'd done a lot of remodeling on the house and stuff, made it fit to live in. And that's where we growed up in here. It was a 2-story house, and we had plenty of room in there.
Running water?
Yeah, back in 1945 we got about running water.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. And
how would you heat it?
Huh?
How was it heated?
Well, we had wood stoves, had wood heaters, and then when propane got popular, we went to propane, and that's why we finished up heating it that way. Never did use electricity for heating.
Well, when you got married in 50, you were farming. Was your wife from a farm background too?
She was born out southwest of Perry here, about 2 miles, and that's it. Yeah, she was on a farm, but then she had a job here in Perry. She worked when we got married. She worked there for about a year or so after that. Now, when the first babies come, she quit working, and she never did go back to work. Well, I'll take it back. She did too. She took a course, and she was a nurse. She worked at the hospital in Enid for 10 years. And she'd drive from here out there to the hospital in Enid for 10 years. She worked at that hospital in the ICU. And until she got that driving, she just kind of got to her, she thought she'd quit. I said, you better quit for us. You ruin your health or have a wreck or something,
And what was her name?
Rita.
Rita.
Yeah, and she had 2 brothers. But she was the youngest one of the family.
So on the farm that you bought at that point, were you doing, besides terracing, were you doing other conservation practices?
Planting alfalfa.
Planting ground cover?
Yeah. Always had some alfalfa. Well, that was one of my first jobs. First baler, I bought a first baler, pickup baler, and I was the only one that had a baler around there. And everybody had 10, 12 acres of alfalfa, or maybe 20. And I'd have to do all the baling. Which was all right, fine. But some of them paid, and some of them didn't pay very quick, and you had to go around and try to collect. And I made it. I had a twine baler, and I traded it off for a wire baler.
Those were square bales at that point, I guess.
Yeah, I had all kinds of I had twine bales. And it wasn't very good.
Weren't the round ones they have now?
You couldn't make a good heavy bale out of twine.
Well, in the 50s was about the time when the Rock Conservancy got started. Is that around in the 50s?
It was in the 50s. I think it was in about 8.
Yeah, late 50s.
Late
yes.
50s. I think it was in 08, something like that.
Yeah, I think they signed their first work plan in 1960, so they were forming up late 50s.
Yeah, it was late 50s. Yeah.
Well, how did you get involved with it?
Well, I don't know. I wish I knew. No, they decided about in the 60s, I think they wanted to start a permanent board. And they started a permanent board. They had a temporary board at that time. And they started this permanent board. Well, I was one of the dummies that said I would go ahead and serve. When this Barbara Mason, she was secretary. She was kind of pushing the deal too, but she was going to be secretary treasurer. And Lloyd Long from Garber was going to be our president. He said he would be president for one term, was all he wanted to serve. Of course, he was in implement. He was sold John Deere tractors, and he was in implement business there. And he had 2 sons that pursued that implement business too. And he was good. And then we had about our attorney we had was he served just about as long as Lloyd Long served, and he wanted off too. So we had to get another attorney, and I think we've had about 3 or 4 attorneys since I've been on the board.
And that's been over 50 years, close to 50 years?
Yes, it's been over 50 years.
Over 50.
It's long enough. And I thought, well, maybe I should retire, because you never could get somebody to run. We had one person that lived out there in that community, mention no name, but his whole project was to kill the whole project, kill the whole deal. And every time election come up, he would run with the whole idea of killing it. And of course, we knew that. We knew that's what he wanted. He'd tell you about it. That's what he wanted to do. And so we'd get proxy votes for some if they wanted to run. And we got enough proxy votes to beat him every time. I mean, it wasn't easy, but we got it done. And when he finally passed away, and I thought, well, we'll see what we can do now. Because that place there, one of them biggest sites is built on it. Site 52 is built on it. And it was a real important site in my books, because it protected I-35, and it done a lot of work. I kind of spent a little time on that. I'd call different people up, and I'd call the highway department out here, head out here, and they said, yes, we're interested in it. I'll give you a name of somebody that I'll give you a call. I'll have them call you this evening. I said, okay. Well, somebody called me that evening, all right, but I couldn't hardly understand him. He was some kind of Arab or something, that I couldn't hardly understand him. But he said, we don't get involved in something like that. Okay. I said, they don't get involved like that. But I said, listen, fella, this is an important site. I said, I-35 is flooded 3 times in 1 year. That right after they built that dam there. And, oh, well, let's see. I didn't know that. He probably didn't. And that was one selling point of getting that dam built, I think.
For the transportation issues, yes.
Because when I lived out in the country there, I'd wake up there, they wouldn't have the dam done yet. It'd be flooded, that road would be flooded. I'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You could hear the highway patrol talking back and forth on their radios, They'd have the road closed, cars backed up, you could see a line of lights back both ways, And I don't know how long they kept it closed, but...
Well, that didn't happen until 2000
Oh, it was later on, yeah.
6. So it took a while to convince them to get it done.
Yeah, it's the last dam that we've built new in the county.
It was what?
The last.
Yeah, it was the last site we built in this county, yeah.
Well, how many different property owners would be involved in something like that?
It was all 4 but one. And the lady, when that fella passed away, Bill Harney was a D.C. here before Rusty. And he told me one day, he said, if you're not too busy, why don't you go out with, let's talk to Mrs. Dronberger, And I said, let's talk to her and see if we can get some, I'd like to just get permission to cord drill. And I said, well, I'll go with you, but I don't count on nothing, happening anything. So we went out there, and she talked about her husband, all the good he done for her, And they lived in Ponca City at that time, those people. And so we talked to her. She got done. I said, well, I'll tell you what we're here for. We're not here to build no dam. We're not going to move no dirt. All we want is permission to core drill. Oh, is that all? I said, well, that's all we want to do. I said, we won't leave no damages or nothing. If it's going to be muddy, we won't do it. It's going to have to be dry. Okay, that sounds good to me. She wanted to give us permission. So we had it core drilled. And from there it started off. And then, of course, she has a daughter that got part of it. She did part of it to her daughter, too. And then, I know we had to go to Ponca City. They went to a lawyer by the name of C.D. Northcutt in Ponca City. And we went there and talked to him about, because he was their lawyer. And he looked at our appraisals we had on that. And he said, well, that looks fine to me. I don't see nothing wrong with that appraisal, but it looks fair enough. And but they had that one son that didn't want to. He didn't want to do nothing. He had about 30, 40 acres in there. And we had to have his his easement too, you know. And he said, well, I can get you all these easements and we can figure these up, but I don't think I can get his. And Bob Casher was our attorney here, and he said, I'll get you somebody to get it for you. He said, since I'm your attorney here and I know everybody around here, everybody think it's something screwy, you know. And so he got our attorney, and he said, yeah, I'll get it for you. And he entered, they called it a journal entry. I've never heard nothing like that. And I'm not a lawyer, and don't intend to be. And you know, he got that easement just for our appraisal value. Fine. I said, let's get the dozer starting.
Well, when you would acquire the easements, you would have to pay for them?
Oh yes.
Well, what was your source of funding?
Our source of funding, it started early, way early. When these dams was first started built, you know, we had no problem with them at all. They were just fine then. And we had an appraisal set on the upper Red Rock Creek where the benefited owners paid so much taxes, and of course we didn't spend the money, and we just had the money piling up, so we put it in CDs, you know. Mm. And back there then, before this Site 52 was built, I said this CDs are down to about 1%, you know, and it wasn't fit to have, you know. And I said we just go on. I have to spend them on that land, so we bought 3/4 of land up there where that site was, and we spent a lot of money on it, but, and it was built. But look at the things it done. All improvement it done. There was no way of getting it done. You know, we'd write to the state office up here, and about a month later, we get a letter back from no funds available. And I said, well, that don't sound good, you know. I guess it wasn't available. I don't know. Anyway, it coming time, we was at a meeting one day, and they said that Frank Lucas was going to be he was going to be at a town hall meeting. And he said, why don't you go talk to him about this, see if we can get that site. These are on that site. I said, well, who you want to get? Well, you're going to go. You're president. So I said, well, you ain't doing no good now, so I just go. So I went to talk to Mr. Lucas that day, and I told him what we done. And he said, well, I'm sure that's interesting. That sounds good, and I'm sure that's I will take that under consideration. And the more I got to thinking, I said, if that ain't a political answer, I never heard one. And I said, just one thing else, Mr. Lucas. I said, I've got a neighbor that lives to the north of me up there. Was very interested in that site. He said it protects I-35, plus all the ranchers that live up in there. And he said he thought it ought to be built. And I said, you might even know him. I said, well, who's that? I said, Henry Bellman. Going back, don't say another word, he said. I met him about 2 weeks ago in Kingfisher, and my ears are still burning. And I said, well, that's right. He's, you know, about a month later, I got a letter in the mail that had been approved. Don't tell me politics not involved.
Drop a few names there.
And I didn't have no hopes of getting that done, but it worked. And so we had a groundbreaking ceremony there. You know, we had Lucas there, and you know, when we had the shovel, everybody got a shovel. You know, but we got the. I know Henry Bellman, he was there too. And when Lucas got his shovel out there, started to get a shovel of dirt. Henry Bellman said, "Well, Frank, this is the first time you're going to get some real dirt." Because Lucas comes from out there in the western part of the state, you know, where it's just that sandy country, you know, and just sand, you know, and
it was a good day and good experience for you to facilitate all that coming together.
Well, somebody had to do it. It wasn't going to do it itself, you know.
Well, did they do a monument or a sign or something there?
Oh, they put that little tombstone out there at the road, you know. We're there with it, but that's all they put. No, I think the dam is about a half mile long, isn't it? I walked it once.
Yes.
It's half mile long.
It's a half mile.
Oh. So
But it drains 5,800 acres. That's why I was kind of for it. The rest of the board members said, yeah, you're just wanting that dam for your protection. I said, well, yeah, but it's for everybody's protection in the highway. I said, it drains that so many acres. And I said, if you see many floods that has come down my way, you'd want it too, you know, from that 5,800 acres. So it drained it plumb up there from Billings, almost south of Billings, you know, and there.
So it formed a lake as well?
Oh, it didn't form no lake.
No lake?
It formed a lake on my place. No, they got a big rain up there one time, and it just flooded just that one little old field. I mean, that was it. And of course, it went down 2 hours later. But when Red Rock Creek gets out, it stays up for about, oh gosh, it'll stay up for a day and a half, 2 days sometimes, and it leaves a mess. I'd rather do anything but a flood. It tears up your fences. And you get trash all there, and you got piled up there where you don't want it. Yeah, not good. And like I said, it stays up for so long. It drains quite a little bit. It started up there about west of Kremlin a little way, east of Kremlin a little ways up there, north of Enid. This is where Red Rock Creek starts. And we have some sites built up there too. And
Well, there's upper and then there's
upper and lower.
lower.
And then another thing. So we got the upper site built. I mean, upper site was all designated. Highway 77 it's just about the divide line from upper and lower Red Rock. And so we might as well get that appraised and let them pay some taxes too. Boy, that's when that didn't stir up a hornet's nest. Them people there was not for it at all. And we spent I don't know how many days in court down there. They had it, and Bob Kess was our lawyer, and Judge Paul Kress was our judge then. And he was for it because he'd been on our lawyer before for a few years there. And I mean, that one person, he got kind of unruly, you know. If he finally, Judge Kress told him, just sit down and shut up. If I hear one more word out of you, I'm citing you for contempt of court. Well, he shut up. But that's the way it was. We had a meeting in Red Rock one time, in Red Rock, and tried to talk to them people up there, and few of them was for it. We got some sites built up there, but few of them was for it, and most of them was against it. And they just didn't understand it because they hadn't, really looked it over or nothing. And that one same old boy, he throwed a fit in Red Rock, and boy, he said, he told that Mrs. I forget what her name was, or what his name was, that was always throwing a fit. He said, I'm not going to have no woman tell me what to do. That's because our secretary was there too, I'm not going to have nobody tell me what to do that. And by that time, old Perry Mason, he jumped up, and I thought, well, this ain't going to work, fellas. He jumped up, and I think they was going to get maybe they want to have a little tussle or something. And I told our DC here, I said, close the books up. This meeting's over. It's not going to do any good. It's not going to help nobody. And so we closed it up. And he shut up, and everybody shut up, and that was it. But that's the bad part of being on this board. See, is having to listen to that kind of stuff, and there's nothing you can do about it. But
Well, you would think the ones that would come after would see the benefit from the previous ones. You would think.
There was a few of them, but a few of them they should have known better. The one we had was, when we was getting easements on Upper Red Rock, we'd meet on his place in the morning to go out and get easements. And his wife would have coffee made and everything, and boy, we'd drink, boy. And quick as they slapped taxes on the lower Red Rock, which he owned land down there, throwed a fit. Didn't want nothing to do with it. It was Ray Sanders. And he come out and get me one day there, and I was out in the field working. He walked out to where I was working, and he said, "We got to do something about this." "What do you mean?" We can't be paying taxes on this down here." I said, "Well, why not? Your uppers paying taxes." "Well, we're gonna do something about it." I said, "Listen, Ray," I said, "I don't have time to talk to you now. I just buried my dad yesterday." And I said, I'm not in the mood to talk with you, talking about anything now. I said, "Reefer Noteware is our president up there. He lives north of Billings." He said, I said, "Well, can I go talk to him?" "I don't care if you go talk to him." "You want to talk to him?" And he run him out. There wasn't much talking there. And so I didn't hear no more about Ray, but he was against it. He was always against it. Now, Gene wasn't. Gene never fussed about it. And I talked to Lee, that's their boys, and he was nothing wrong. But Ray, he got his mind set against it, and that was it.
When they build them anyway, and the land ownership changes, do the next owners still pay the taxes?
Oh, yeah.
It's whoever stays with the property.
Yeah.
And if,
See, that's the only thing that's the only trouble we've got. We've got that money. Them taxes running, and them benefits we've got run out, another year or two? And our taxes are quitting, and we're going to have to, if the finance these things, now we're going to have to go out for our savings we got, because, NRCS is not doing much anymore. And, we used to have one of them towers go out or something, and our NRCS had put in another one for us. Not anymore. When we go out now, we got to put it in ourselves. We had to put one here on Site 54, one here about a year or two, couple of years ago.
Yeah, everything's concrete now.
Everything is that plastic, isn't it?
Yeah, but all the new ones are going in concrete.
Oh, they're going in concrete? Yes. Oh, well, they've been putting in plastic when they say they last a long time. I don't know, they don't cost much, but at least it costs us $6,000 a pop. Every time they put one in, that ain't gonna last. Our money ain't gonna last too long at that rate. And
so you buy the easements, and then you have to pay for maintenance.
Yes, we have to pay for maintenance.
And if so, why are the taxes going to end?
That's what?
Why are the taxes going to end?
They're set up for 50 years.
Right.
Ooh.
That was part of the deal, was a 50-year lifespan of them sites. Well, might be the lifespan of them sites, but they're still working. Let's put it that way. Yeah. They might be filling up. A lot of them are filling up, and of course, 3 or 4 years ago, a couple of them even went dry. But that's like I say, they're still working, and they're still doing their job. So I'm not worried about that.
Back in the beginning, you talked about Gordon Bateman, Barbara Mason, Lloyd Long, some of those founding fathers. You were involved back then. What was some of working with those guys like, and discussing flooding and publicity?
I went to a few of their temporary meetings. Now, see, that's where they got a hold of me. And I wasn't very old then. I wasn't too long far out of high school, And they said, "Well, we'll just put you on the board too." Well, I won't last long. Well, I guess I did. But like I say, you got to deal with people different. The only thing I got complained about one time, they wanted me to, go out and get easements. Did you know an R.J. Chance? Mm-mm. He was with the NRCS. He was out of Stillwater. He told me to go with me, and I did not agree with him at all. We're going to go here and we're going to go there, and he'd ride my pickup and everything. But we'd go to the widow women, and he'd get on them, and he would start, with him. Now, if you don't sign this, we're going to condemn it, and this and that. And I said, you can't do that. I said, they're not going to do that. You're just making them mad. He'd make them so darn mad till they'd start crying. And I said, let's go. We got to leave. That's not no way to get easements. And he should have known better than that. But he did. I went with him about 3 or 4 times, but that's about it.
Well, the early board members, this was a volunteer basis, was it? There
Oh
wasn't
yeah, we didn't get no
you-
money.
Did the lawyer?
Huh?
Did the lawyer get paid?
Oh,
What was
yes,
his
they got
volunteer?
paid.
Yeah, I figured
Don't
that.
tell me a lawyer don't get paid.
Yeah, that was why I was questioning.
Yes, they got paid.
So how many would be on when it was first started, how many would be on the board? You know,
Over there, five. Five, I think. And,
well, the main reason it started was because of the flooding.
oh yes, because
Flooding.
of the flooding was the whole reason it flooded. I mean, the whole reason it started. But, and I can see it's done a lot of good. But some people, I don't think you'll ever convince them.
But what went into planning what was to be done, like the whole watershed issue project business? I mean, where to start, or that sort of thing.
Well, I don't know what do we do if we run out of money, Rusty?
You start scratching and trying to find ways to get things done, other
I
avenues.
don't know, really. I haven't put that much thought in it yet, but
Well, conservancy is a little bit different from conservation districts, aren't
yeah.
they? I mean, they're
Yeah,
two separate,
they're different.
Yeah, the conservancy district's a different entity.
I still think it's going to have to go. It's going to have to go to politics, and I hate to see that, but I think politics are going to have to get involved.
The Red Rock has been very progressive with maintenance. They've invested in equipment to do the maintenance on their dams, so their dams are in great shape.
And I will tell you another story on the site on Lower Red Rock on Site 13. That's the one there east of the highway, and they built that site, or they give an easement on it. We had the easement on it, and the site was built. By that time, the turnpike was going to go through there, the Cimarron Turnpike. Well, got a call one evening. He said, you got to be down there at the Barbara Mason was the only one that went along. We had some of the locals here, and we had some of the engineers out of Stillwater come down and go with us, and we got down there at 11 o'clock that next day down at the Turnpike building down there on Eastern Street there, and Mr. H.E. Bailey there, he had his maps spread out all over the table, you know, and well, what we're going to do, we're going to condemn your easements. I said, now, Mr. Bailey, I don't think you can do that, because I said, we got attorneys too. Well, we know it's going to cost us. I said, well, bridge across it. We done agreed to put a 300-foot top on that dam, and you could run the highway right across the dam. We're not going to do that. We don't do that. I said, well, bridge across it. They bridged across the 412 over there by Enid, you know. And, oh, we're not. You don't even have that site built yet. And I don't know whether we're not going to be able to bridge over dry land, you know. And boy, I mean, he didn't want it. And he kept up. In a few more words, he said, Barbara Mason blowed up. She called him about everything she could think of. I'm not going to repeat the words she said because they're not good. But she called him up, and boy, he just threw his old cigar down and folded his maps up and said, I got to be at my office downtown. And he folded them up, and away he went. And I said, well, I blowed that deal up. He says, it's going to cost us $850,000 to go around it. Can't help that. We had the easements and everything ready. And we talked about moving it up one time, but if we'd done it, we'd violate our easements. We would even put water on the airport, city on the airport. And Norman Boone was the mayor at that time. He wouldn't even put us on the agenda up there at the city meeting there also. I said, well, forget about that. But anyway, I remember who was the president of the First Bank, Morrison Bank he was the president at that time. When it was about 11:30, 12 o'clock, I don't know, he said, you know, I've never had so much fun in my life. You know, I've been wanting to tell him that for a long time, you know. And he said, I'm going to take you guys to dinner. And he took us all to dinner and lunch, you know, and he said, yeah. He said, I know you guys was right. And you know, another guy come up to me after he was the president. He was he was on that Turnpike board there. He was from Ada, and he said, you know, you guys had a pretty good plan. It sounded like to me like it would work pretty good. And I said, well, we kind of thought we did. But I said, well, why didn't you accept it? Well, Mr. Bailey was our consulting engineer, and we go by his decisions. Yeah. He went around it. He went around it, but it sure made those people mad about it. They was upset for me for a long time. It was my fault, you know. And John Steichen come down several times and told me that he didn't think that was right. You know, I started dropping. Well, the darn site drained 3,600 acres or something like that, 3,800 acres. I don't know what it drained, but I wasn't about to give it up. And you know, he finally settled down. He finally knew what it was. And George Klein has not been mad at me or nothing. So I guess maybe I've got settled things with him. I don't know. But their lawyer never did. Their lawyer, he got a little bit hasty with me. Which he's not here now. He was here for a while.
I believe after people see the benefit, they calm down.
That's what I was thinking. After the rough starts, and then they see success and what it does, do they come back around and say, thanks for doing this?
Well, yeah, I hear you say that. But that was a site that when they formed up the bottom, spillway up there, and they formed it up. We had the big rain, and it flooded all them people up above. Water didn't drain, and they got upset. That's when they filed a lawsuit against us. I was telling you about that, and they finally NRCS had to get somebody to go out and break that form down, break that form up. I don't know how they done it. He couldn't hardly send a driver down there because that suction would have sucked him through there. But I wasn't there when they done it. I wished I would have been, but I wasn't. I wasn't there, but they drained that. And like I said, that my neighbor here in town, he was retired from the NRCS, and he worked on a Washita watershed down there. And he said, I was an inspector down there too for him, you know. And he said, you know, they done that. I was telling him about what trouble he had, and he said, well, they done that on Washita for a long time until they got caught. And then they didn't do that, and that's when we tried to get to the NRCS. That's why we had to go see Mr. I told you, what's his name? He was a state conservationist. That's who we met with. Anyway, his lawsuits filed against us, and I said, we don't think we owe that money. Well, he told us that it's just an act of God. Well, maybe so, but it's still not right. And I said, so we left, and we decided, the more we thought about it, I said, let's go meet him with him again. And Morton Hay was on the board then. He went with me. He said that, how can we be entitled to a lawsuit when we don't own the site? We do not own that site until it's built. Well, that's right. Well, yeah. Well, I'll send an application in again to Washington. Well, it worked second time. So they paid them people off. And but that's it. It's running around something like that, but it ain't necessary. And he knew better than that. Hampton Burns.
That's right.
And he's the one that called me about 11 o'clock one night and assured me it's over that site there. He said, that'll never happen again. I said, well, it better not. I said, he was sorry, but he finally admitted they was wrong.
Well, would you have to check them regularly to make sure they weren't plugged up, stopped up?
Yeah, well, I checked every year. all them sites are inspected once every year.
By who? By the Conservancy or by the
The Conservancy.
NCRS?
Yeah, well, Wade Warren does most of our inspection here, don't he? He does that all here. I don't know about Garfield County, whether he does them all there or not.
I think he does now.
He does now. But I know this board, when I was first on the board, the board would inspect them. And it'd take us a whole day to inspect Garfield counties, because I didn't know where they all were, and everybody else didn't either. You had to kind of go by the maps. And we inspected with Noble County, took about half a day. And we don't do that now. We got Wade Warren here, and that's all he does now during that part of the season. He can inspect them, and he's got the time to do it. It's not no Bermuda grass planting time, and he can do it, and he's good at it. And we've got a little money spent on these dams. In fact, we spent quite a bit of money here. We bought a new skid steer loader for him to mow these dams with. I guess it's still working pretty good, isn't it? And I guess he's tickled to death with that, and well, we needed it, and we got all the tools for it. If we got to bail fence, he's got the post hole digger for it. We've got a blade that goes on the front of it, and it was one of them high-dollar jobs, but we got it. You get what you pay for.
Well, I mean, and he's not paid for his time. He volunteers.
He's paid for his time.
He
He's
gets
working
paid.
on them sites.
Is he? Okay.
Yes.
It's just the board members that are not paid.
Well, board members, we're not getting paid. Yeah, we get paid for one meeting. We get paid for a meeting, and that's it.
Well, it seems like it's been some stressful moments.
Oh, but you stop and think about it. It's kind of interesting if you go back and look, but I can't remember all that stuff anymore. That's the trouble. Now, there's a lot of things I could tell you yet. We've had squabbles over there who gets the water and all that stuff over there, And back when the oil field was booming there, that Site 1 there, they was selling water out of it, and the neighbor found that out, and boy, he threw a fit. He said, that ain't gonna happen. And then he got back here and he found out they had to assess how many acres they had water and they could sell, and this and that.
But Bob passed on his experience with working with Conservancy districts. He's got 2 sons. Can you shed light on how your sons are following in your footsteps?
I don't know. No, I really not. I got one. In fact, my oldest boy graduated from the FSA office. He was a county director down there in Marshall County, southern part of the state. And they combined the counties with Johnson County and this and that. And he said, "Boy, I think I'm going to be fired because they're cutting down, and I don't think I can't get on at Ardmore." So he applied for a job as a state auditor. He said, there's hardly anybody ever applies for that. Well, they did. And he applied for that state auditor's job, and he got it. And I said, there were 3 women that applied for it, too. And I said, well, that looks like there's a little bit of problem there. And he said, well, that's what they gave me the job, and they wanted me the job to do it, so he done it. I said, well, where's the worst place you have to go? Boise City. Or Poto. And I put him on the road quite a bit. And he retired from that job. And then my boy that's on this board now, my son that's on this Conservancy board now, he's my youngest son. There was Tom and Ted. They were twins. And Tom farms out there. And he's a pretty good sized farmer anymore. And Ted, he was always kind of interested in this and everything. And I don't know, he just took an interest in it, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did.
Everybody said he took an interest in it. And maybe I don't think I taught him too much, but if he takes an interest in it, that's fine. I don't care. Somebody's got to get on this younger than me, because I can't go on this forever. And
Well, he watched you negotiate various things.
Well, I guess he did a few times, yeah, but I don't know what he's done, but really. Of course, he graduated from Enid. He graduated from that ADM, that elevators over there. He was a grade inspector over there for them elevators at Enid, and he had a good job there till he got time where he could retire. And his job mostly was just he was the main grain inspector there. He got sent. See, he got sent down to Houston when he got out of college, OSU. They sent him down to. He had two. He could go with the NRCS west of Fort Worth, or else go down to Houston and grade grain. Well, he thought he was more qualified to grade grain because he done that in college, because he was on the crops judging team there at OSU and that stuff, you know. And he said they went to 3 OSUs. They went to Oregon State, and they went to Ohio State and Oklahoma State. And he got that job there down in Houston, so he said, I think that was a big mistake. He said, he didn't want to go to Fort Worth because he said, there ain't nothing but land out there, nothing, ain't a tree growing out there, you know. And Tom, he graduated from his college over there at the Panhandle State, and he liked it out there. You got it. You had a name. He said, I wasn't nothing but a number here at OSU. And he graduated out there, and he liked it out there. He graduated animal science. And like I said, I don't know anything else to bring up. You ain't got anything else to?
I keep jogging my memory and don't know if you have more.
No, go ahead if you want.
You want me to shut up?
No, we're on a roll. Were you going to ask something? Go ahead.
I don't have.
What was the high point? What was when you finally got something done? What was the high point?
High point for what?
For the watershed project.
Oh, when we quit getting them complaints. And they didn't come. They come off gradually, but I don't hear nobody complaining now anymore. And I guess that was the high points, because I hated to hear them complaints, because I knew they was going to say it was going to be my fault.
Were there times when your wife said, "Just get off the board"?
Well, she kind of suggested I did. But she got off. Well, she retired too from her nurse's job. She was kind of wanting something to do, you know. She thought I'd get off the board too, and have places to go or something to do, you know. No, it works that way. We go where we want to go. Where we don't want to go, we don't go.
Well, during the course of a week, how much time would you spend doing board work?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, you were farming too, so.
Yeah, I know it was. And one DC we had here, he'd come down about once a week from out down on my place. Let's go get some easements. Well, gosh, you kind of had to drop your work you're going to do and go with him and go try to get some easements. And I don't know, that wasn't the high point.
Was there a little difference between easements and right-of-ways?
Yeah. Well, right-of-ways usually on the road or something, or a pipeline or something, or a road or something like that. Easements is where the project is setting or going to be built. You know, that's the easement we got to get.
Would you have to get the right-of-ways too, or is that someone else's
Well,
problem?
right-of-ways, I don't know, they have to go to the county commissioners to get the right-of-way for roads or something like that, but...
Well, have all the dams been built that
I
were planned?
wish.
No.
Hell, I wish. Well, we got biggest part of them built, but they're not. We're not finished, and that's what I would like to see. What's the project of getting them all built? What's the NRSES's job? They're co-sponsors.
Well, how many more are there?
Oh, there's probably about 20 or 30 in there.
Yeah, about 20.
About 20.
And we're currently in a position to try to submit for a few that have been designed. If we can get an easement on a few that have been designed, there's some money available right now to build some new ones. So we have 2 that we're chasing down. If we have the easement on, hopefully over at Foltz Dam, and then looking at the school and over on by Ed Root's place.
That's what I don't understand, is why the school land is a school sponsor too for us, and they won't even hardly talk to us. They won't know us. We pay them so much. Well, gosh, we're not hurting their rental authority anyway. They can rent what they want to, but no. We met with them one day. Rusty was down there. We met him down there where that whole section of the school land is, and there's a site staked on it. And they just don't, they think we ought to pay for them. Well, I don't think so. But what are you going to do about it?
It sounds like it takes a while to get easements. I mean,
It is now.
It takes a while.
It wasn't early when this thing started. They had easements piled up on us faster than we could build them. But now, they heard, them people now, them landowners, they could get an appraisal on it, and they can get money for it. Well, they're waiting on that money. So that's the only way to get it now.
Or right after a big flood, and they see what.
That don't cure them.
That
That don't help. In fact, probably one of our largest landowners in Noble County here was not even for it. You know who I mean?
Mm-hmm. Your neighbor to the north.
My neighborhood north. Yeah.
Yes.
He wasn't very well approved of it. In fact, he bought a place up there where his son lives up there on Highway 15 there where Gary lives. This got a dam on it, but that dam was built before he bought it.
Right.
And one time he was going to build it, and they was ready to move the machinery in there to build it. And he wanted, what do you want? He wanted $400 or $500 just to move that machinery across in there to build that dam. And we had a meeting one day, and they said, well, he's your neighbor. He said, can you go talk to him? See, we'd like to move in from the East Road. Come in from that East Road there and move machinery there to the east side. And be a lot closer, and it might hurt take a little bit of ground off, but it wouldn't ruin the ground. Would you talk to him? Oh yeah, I'll talk to him. That's all I did was talk to him. He said, what? I said, what do you want for that road? For us, let us cross over. Well, I don't think it's any good. You don't really need it. If you want to go across my land, it's going to cost you $300. I said, well, all I can do is bring it up to the board. I did. It didn't fly too good.
They found a different route in, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they come in through Thomason's there.
Mm-hmm. But yet they end up benefiting from it.
Oh yeah.
Afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Well, where's the office for the Conservancy? Is it in this building?
You're sitting in it.
Is it? I can imagine paperwork somewhere.
Yes, there's a lot of paperwork.
Comes through here, yes.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, will they merge the district and the Conservancy? No, just always separate entities?
They're separate entities, and they'll stay separate.
Huh?
The district and the Conservancy district will stay separate, definitely.
Hmm.
Unless they say in Washington you got to combine them.
Right.
So the deeds to the easements, that part is in the name. The current Conservancy has those deeds, or what, if there are deeds.
Well, this is Conservancy District, what, number 12?
Oh,
I believe so.
not.
Yeah.
There's more across the state than I didn't know.
Yes.
I didn't know.
There's a lot of them across the state.
But they do similar things to what the district does in other
Correct.
places.
Yes, that's correct.
So why decide to go this route? Do you know?
This was a better opportunity for maintenance in the long run.
Okay.
Well, I think our dams that we've got here are in good shape because Wade works on them. He does a good job on them. And what was it, about 4 or 5 years ago, he had those guys from the southern part of the state come up here and kind of double check on some of it, I guess. And you asked me if I'd take them around to these upper Red Rock here and to show them where they're at. And, I said, well, yeah, I guess I could. And I'd show them where they was. And, well, they didn't do much checking. And well, that old boy said when he got done, he said, you know, we've been out here for about 2 or 3 weeks checking dams, you know. He said, you know, you got some of the best looking dams we've been checking. So that sounded good.
That sounds good. Are they mostly earthen or?
Well, they're earthen.
Earthen.
The last ones were built like Rusty said, they're concrete. You know, the towers are part concrete and everything. No, we've had a lot of trouble with beaver getting in there till we went to them concrete dams, stopping them up, you know, and that's cleaned them out. But outside, that's about the only problem we had with them, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The rod or
The rod, yeah, it
rusts.
yeah.
But stainless steel has solved that problem.
What's the largest one?
Red Rock 52, and then
52.
South 11 there north of Billings.
North of Billings, I'd say would be the largest one.
Yeah. Those two are big.
Pretty good size.
The one north of Billings is probably 3/4 of a mile long.
And the biggest one is going to be on Black Bear when they got the city lake tore down. They're going to redo that dam or something, aren't they?
Right. Black Bear 62
That's
is
Black
Perry
Bear.
Lake. Yes.
Well, the one north of Billings, was Bellman involved in it again?
No, he wasn't involved in it. I don't know who all was involved in it, really.
And then what would be the smallest?
Phew. Probably some of these low dry dams, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't tell you the number. I can tell you one over on Long Branch Creek that's the smallest because it's smaller than this building actually.
Okay, that's what I kind of visualize how small a small would be.
It's not much bigger than a small farm
How
pond.
did they ever get it built?
It benefited some land below it.
Well, gosh, they could build one on my pasture out there. I'm in Long Branch out there.
And they won't have to convince you.
I'd
will
sign an
they?
easement out there in a minute. And that'd be a bigger one that's on there. Because that pond in there isn't very big.
Well, has your place flooded since all this work? Has it saved you from your areas from flooding?
Not floods, not hard, none to speak of. They really haven't been a problem. They've got in the low spots and through in there, you know, but they're never like it was back in the 70s, and 80s.
Well, has weather changed? Has that been part of it, or just?
Oh, it's some, yeah. But I've got a picture out in the pickup of where I used to live. There was water in my yard was about a foot deep there, and that was just from an 8-inch rain.
Just an 8-inch rain. That's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water.
Harold Mullins used to call you to find out
Yeah.
how high the creek was.
He'd call me and know how high the creek was. Of course, he lived down there below Red Rock, and he was down there. He was only about 4 miles from the river, 8 miles, about 5 miles from the river. And of course, it flooded too down there. But we haven't got many sites down close to the river. One site, the DC here wanted me to go with him. He said, we're going down there and get that on site 1 on lower. He said, no, boys kind of want to know what it'd be to build a site down there. You know, he kind of wanted one. And, well, it really wasn't much of it wasn't too big a site, but we went down and looked at it and shoot. He didn't want one. He had a lot of pecan trees down there. And he wanted us to pay for every pecan tree that was on there. You know, that tree's worth $400. That tree's about $600 there. Well, he had it all figured out. I said, well, I don't think we can afford to pay for them pecan trees. I said, it's outside if it floods. I said, it's not hurting them pecan trees. You might lose a crop or two of pecans or something like that, but that's not going to hurt the trees any. He wouldn't see when that was all that. And the Greens had a quarter down there, the pecan trees, Paul Green and Donnie Green together, and they sold it. They planted pecan trees on it. Actually, they bought it, and they had it. I was down there one time with I think with Paul or Donnie or somebody. I don't know what fool was down there for, but went down and looked at it, and there he had them young trees growing about the size of this camera stand here, you know. And, well, I know they sold it before they got barren age, but it would raise pecans. But like I said, every time the river comes up, it flooded, and that's the main reason they sold it, because it flooded. But it flooded from the Arkansas River.
It seems like a good part of this job was being aware of what the county was, where things, where issues occurred and that sort of thing too.
Yeah.
So you have a map of the county in your head here.
Well, I used to have a lot more in my head than I do now. It's all slipped out somewhere. At least I had some ideas. Some of them ideas didn't go over too good, but we had a board. We had a board here that they all had ideas. You couldn't satisfy every one of them.
Was this Harry Mullins? Was he on?
Harold Mullins.
Harold, was he on the board too?
He was on the temporary board before they started the permanent board.
Oh, that's a few years ago. Yes.
Yeah, it's a while ago. Because I went to a few of those temporary board meetings they had there with my uncle, and Harold was there then. And like you say, that who did I say was Gordon Bateman? Yeah, was that on? I never could think of his name. He was a farmer out south of, pretty close to the Pawnee County line there. And that and Hugh Waters. But Harold, we jumped, about Lloyd Long being on the board, and they jumped him about it. And he said, well, yeah, I know it. He said, he's got a site on Upper Red Rock. And he's got it fixed up pretty nice, if you ever been to it. I used to keep that grass all mowed and stuff. It's about like a golf course. And he said, yeah, I'll serve on that board, but I'll serve 1 year. I'll see 1 term, and that's all I'm going to serve. Well, I thought, I thought maybe he'll serve more than that, but he didn't.
That's when you make the terms longer, when they say I'll serve 1 term.
Yeah.
So do you have any on your property?
What?
A site?
How I wish.
No.
I got a lot of water sometimes.
And you do cattle, or do you do other?
I do anything now. I've sold all my cattle, and I've retired. When you're 80 years old, you can't do a whole lot. I mean, 90 years old. I know I had cattle here early in the fall there, and I tried to feed them, and I had a couple of them knock me down, and I thought, well, that's not maybe. I ain't sharp I ain't quick as I used to be. So that's why I quit. I got that boy about if he would serve on there. They kind of wanted him, I guess. I don't know. I guess he's doing all right. I don't know, Rusty.
He does great. He's taking notes. He asks questions. He's interested, and he's a good,
I keep telling him, well, he went to OSU. He ought to know something.
Well, now he had you as a father. He ought to know something about this.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But like I said, I got 3 boys. 2 of them went to OSU, and 2 granddaughters. 3 boys and 2 granddaughters. And they all went to OSU but one. He went to OU. And that really makes it interesting. At Christmas time and holiday time when they're all together, and Mickey, the oldest boy of mine down there, Michael, he'll wear his big OU shirt just for aggravate them other kids, Of course, the reason he went to OU down there, he took meteorology.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's got a heck of a job out there in California now.
Yeah. Well, then they shouldn't fault him too much because OSU doesn't offer it.
Huh?
They should not fuss at him too much. OSU doesn't offer.
They figure something to fuss at him about. Yeah. Yeah, he got a job out there in California right away when he got out. Out by Sacramento.
Well, weather has something to do with the watershed, so it all ties back.
Well, he measures water now. See, they're catching that water in Northern California. It's shipping it down to Southern California. And of course, I don't know how much he's doing now, but he had to measure all that water. They kind of put him on that other district down there for a while there.
A water district or a water board?
Yeah, there are all kinds of boards down there. I said, well, you only live about 5 blocks from the Schwarzenegger. Yeah, but he said, I don't get no information from him.
Doesn't rub elbows with him. Well, we've covered a lot. Do you have anything else, Rusty?
I really
Anything else
don't.
you want to tell us?
Nope.
Well, then my usually last question is, how do you want to be remembered? When history is written about you, what do you want it to say?
They can say what they want to or whatever's on their mind. I don't care. I haven't done anything special. I just kind of done what ought to been done at the time, and I haven't done nothing special. I kind of helped, I think, keep the board together at one time, because they was pretty much split up. That one, I don't know who was on the board one time. He wouldn't come half the time, you know, and there would just be two people on the board here, and I'd have to take the minutes and try to run the meeting, and I couldn't do that.
Right, there was Ira Simmering, or was he Black Bear?
Me, Black Bear.
Okay, and then Danny Prussia's the place that he farms there with the dam on it. Trying to remember his uncle or
You see my mind slipping.
mine is too. Oh shoot! Danny's pushed in the house and cleaned up the barns there. Whereas
Oh.
Ferdinand Glass.
Ferdinand Glass, yeah. Well, he was good. He was good. I mean, he had penmanship. He was older. He was about older than I was, and he had perfect penmanship. But gosh, he was slow. We had something we had put down in the minutes. We'd have to wait till he got done writing. And we had other guy I was thinking of. He always come everywhere. He always carried a briefcase with him. And
Donnie.
not Donahue. He was just a.
Just a secretary, kind of.
Huh?
He and his wife were the secretary.
Yeah, his wife was secretary, or Black Bear.
Right. Kobe Snyder.
Kobe Snyder, that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
He didn't come about half the time until he bought an orange grove out there in California, and he's out there most of the time now, and he wouldn't even come. He finally decided he better give it up, and he did give it up. He didn't run anymore.
So you're the longest serving member.
Oh yeah.
Hard to replace.
Yeah, they did.
You've been instrumental at putting new board members in, though, that I think will carry it on in a good way. Tim and your son.
I kind of got Rusty. I mean, not Rusty, but
Tim.
Tim to be on the board. You know, he was interested, always asking me questions.
Right.
I said, Tim, why don't you run on the board? We're going to have a board meeting, you know, and this and that. And yeah, I said, you'd be interested. He did get interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
He took interest in it.
So you're elected or appointed or just volunteer and you're it?
Elected.
Elected. By whom? The whole county can say?
Yeah, the benefited acre, the county, the people that are benefited.
But see, also who can run on the board is just people that's got benefited acres out there.
Okay.
And that's, you know, that sure cuts the population down pretty much. And they now, I don't want to run. I don't want to run. You ask them, I don't want to run. I don't want to run. I don't want to run.
Has it mostly been men?
Mostly. Well, Barbara Mason was Perry Mason's wife, and she was on that. She was on the permanent board for quite a while. And I don't remember if she got off or quit or what when she passed away there. And then they got me back on the board again to take her place. That's the way it goes.
Yep.
It's been a good run.
It's been a long run. I mean, I can think back on it now, and I kind of enjoy it now, but, you know, it got a little trying a few times there.
You got to shake a lot of hands and
Oh,
meet
yes.
a lot of people.
Oh, yes. Yes. I shake a lot of hands. I just had to shake Henry. You know Henry Bellman? He was my neighbor about 4 miles north of me where I used to live. And how he got to know me, I don't know. But gosh, I could meet him. If he'd come to life now and walk in there, he'd call me by my first name. How you doing, Bob? Even when he was senator and all that, He just never, he could remember names.
He was good about names,
And
yes.
he was governor twice.
And-
I asked him or something, he wouldn't discuss it. I said, Henry, you got a nice pond. There's any fish in it? Yeah, I put some. Oh, there's some nice fish in there. Been catching some out there. Or could I go fishing in there? Well, I don't care. You go anytime you want to. He wouldn't let nobody else fish. Well, you make what make a farmer mad worse than anything than leave his gate open. That'll make a farmer mad. And I was told Wade when he's doing that inspections, I said, be sure you close the gates, because I don't care how you do it, but that'll make a farmer mad quicker than anything.
Well, all right. We'll say thank you very much for sharing your stories with us today. It's been great.
Well, I guess they're all true as far as I know.
Yep.
People downstream should appreciate it.